My name is Ryan Horrigan. I'm a co-founder and the CEO of a startup called Artie. We're based in downtown Los Angeles, and I look forward to telling you a little bit more about what we're up to as it pertains to the discussion today. So our primary interest, or sort of how we got started, is asking the question, what's next after video, in particular on social media? So today, everyone knows video is the dominant form of content on your phone. In particular, it's the dominant form of content on social media. Why are we interested in this? Well, because we think that it's no longer growing. We feel it's saturated, and we think something is next, and we are hoping to answer that question or be one of the answers to that question. So the status quo is that video, as we know it today on social media, it's one size fits all. I make a video as a content creator for my audience. My entire audience sees one video. It's predeterminate, it's pre-baked, I can't change it. I make one thing, I have intent, it's finished, won't be changed. It's also passive, it's a one-way conversation. What we think is on the horizon as a new form of content is personalized, it's more generative or leaning towards generative, and it's participatory, which is sort of the inverse of all those things that we perceive with video today. So a little bit more about our company. We're a team of scientists in the AI space, senior game engine engineers, and veteran storytellers building the future of entertainment, hopefully on social media, as I mentioned. So we sort of look at video, and the problem we tackle is the engagement with video on social is in decline recently. Here's some stats. So poor engagement is a thing. Facebook on the right, they're an easy target, I think, and it's nice that I'm getting to say that maybe in this building. So, average video view time of a given Facebook video last year was down to 18 seconds. Engagement rates are really low. And only 22% of videos are played with the sound on, which is maybe shocking to some people and not to others. Sales are trending downwards, and data has never changed. Sort of the insights surrounding what you know about a user's experience is particularly emotional engagement. We only know what happens outside of the content viewing experience. We know, did you click it, like it, share it, comment, complete it? We don't know what was your reaction or engagement emotionally inside the experience. And we always know app stores equal friction still. And in particular, I'm referencing app stores relative to entertainment content and even gaming content, interactive content. There's a barrier to entry. We all know that, sort of going from hearing about an app to downloading one, there's a point of friction there. Discovery is controlled by Apple or Google as the primary curators. You can't discover things very easily from your friends. And the house always wins, so they're keeping store fees and the most valuable data. App Store downloads actually are trending downwards as of Q1 this year, year over year, for the first time in quite a long time since folks were actually looking at these stats. And abandonment, so 77% of apps are abandoned after 72 hours. And another interesting number is 85% of attention goes to the top 5 apps. So it's very hard to be new and deal with incumbents. Content creators who are not prepared for the next wave of consumer engagement, we believe will be left behind. And what is that new wave? It's interactive content, but more specifically, it's AI-powered characters that are conversational that we believe will unlock a new era of entertainment that is more human. We've been forever trying to get to a more human UI, UX, and we believe now, once you can stare someone in the face, whether that someone is real or not real, you can converse, you can be understood, not just through your verbal communication, but your nonverbal communication. We can make some semblance or draw some semblance of meaning from that. We believe that that will be better or more engaging than what we've known before. We don't believe it will be a replacement, but we believe it will be additive and a new piece of the pie. And it will also become a frictionless gateway to the consumer. So sort of this is how we envision the character layer, the avatar layer, you could call it virtual beings, being between sort of consumers and all the things we do today on our phones and machines or devices. So this is also sort of what we believe the benefits are from AI characters. They're hyper engaging, they offer personalized content with each individual consumer, higher sales, so being able to actually sell things like movie tickets if you're talking to your favorite superhero, merchandise. Pretty much anyone with a large audience on social media has something to sell, whether they're selling it to you deliberately or directly or not. but there's always a point of friction in sort of seeing a movie trailer for a new Marvel movie and then deciding later to go on to a website to buy a ticket. Now I might be able to buy a ticket directly from my favorite character after I played a game with him or her. And then brand new data. So for the first time ever, we can now understand what your emotional engagement level is in a granular way inside the content experience. So we can now know, well, I just wanted to preface, while protecting the consumer privacy and anonymity, being GDPR and CCPA compliant, we can deliver macro insights about the granular nature of your interactions inside of content. So we can tell people what was said, how it was said, what we think you meant when you said it, your attention level visually, facial expressions, how many people laughed at that joke from that particular character, how many people look bored. We can look for keywords, how many people said they were scared, how many people said they preferred Coca-Cola to water, not many people probably. Easy discovery, so this content can exist natively on social media via a link in the same way you would share a YouTube link. That's a streaming video. With our technology, you can now share an interactive character you can talk to. And then zero friction, you can launch this content in less than a second natively inside of a social media app in the native browser. So if you're on Instagram, you can click a link in the bio and you're having a conversation with a character or the doppelganger of your favorite celebrity within 2 seconds. And then also, because it's not a typical app store, there's no store fees, and then sort of there's data transparency with partners, and everyone can learn and win. So practically speaking, what can we make? What does this all mean? What type of content? If we're talking about entertainment content that's interactive and conversational with characters on social media, how might that manifest? Conversational games. So imagine being able to get a video call from your favorite superhero and go on an adventure and help talk that character through their problems and be sort of like in a buddy adventure. This could also be interactive fiction that's voice-driven, sort of a modern-day, like 5X version of a Telltale game, or branching narrative. A lot of you have probably seen Netflix Bandersnatch, these newer versions of Choose Your Own Adventures, which have been around for quite a long time. And then also influencer and vlogger kind of 2.0 content. So the idea of a beauty vlogger trying to sell you a product on YouTube where they're just speaking to you, again, in one pre-baked video, now can become a conversation where you're learning, you're teaching, you're interacting. It's a two-way interaction. And for influencers, imagine your favorite music artist who you're a super fan of wants to ask you to comment on his or her new music and get your feedback and talk about that. So we believe that there's a whole new host of opportunities coming. So sort of what we've been working to do is make this content shareable anywhere via link, anywhere you can share a link, but also embedding into apps or kiosks or screens. As I mentioned, there's a new way to buy. Stories and games create stronger emotional connections between consumers and brands, but also characters can become super apps. This is a term from China. More recently, WeChat, being able to take a content experience or an app and then have it be useful for many different use cases. And then also characters can give product demos and answer questions and these kind of things. So this is an example of sort of dashboard for a partner where we can track basic things like speech verbosity, how actively are you speaking and when, and what are the moments in that interaction where you are most engaged. Also visually, how much are you looking at what's being presented to you. We can run, say, a sentiment analysis algorithm on an open-ended question. Maybe your favorite movie character, Deadpool, asked if he should do a movie with Wolverine, and we get a bunch of open-ended responses. We can now provide the feedback to the partner, Marvel, and maybe that's something that they wanted to learn. We can also channel purchases natively, as I mentioned, inside the content, and track kind of the things that you select and your preferences. We've built a game engine on the web, effectively, to do this. We're calling it WonderFriend. It's the first instant game engine for AI characters. We have PBR rendering support. It's compatible with 95% of phones, mostly iPhones and Androids. And micro runtime allows us to load content in less than 2 seconds with 0 speech latency today, with just LTE and even 4G. We've built a creator API so other creators can someday soon create on top of our engine. Today it requires C#, but very soon it will be graphical. And then this is our basic tech stack. So we have external input from the user's facial expression, objects, environment, ASR, what the user is saying. We have then internal models, natural language understanding, trying to derive meaning from what you're saying. We have a knowledge graph that includes the character's canon, memory, personality. We take all of that into what we call Fusion, which is a multimodal error corrector, which then allows us to make better informed decisions in an improvised state machine, effectively, that allows us to then have the character produce an outcome. That outcome today, in sort of our stealth mode that we're in right now, is streaming animation and streaming speech, so predeterminate, which constrains us to not be able to do things that have exponential possibilities. But for next year, we're working on very early natural language generation with procedural animation and speech synthesis, so being able to have more generative output from the character as well. This is sort of the flywheel that we're trying to create as a business. So the more engaging content we make, the bigger the audience gets, the better training data we get, the more we can improve our algorithms and our sort of processes in terms of engaging the audience to keep the wheel spinning. There's another wheel, which would be just substituting data for more partners. The more partners we have, the more engaging content we can make, the larger the audience gets, et cetera. This is sort of our basic business model, just because some people are curious. It's not dissimilar from the gaming model, where one might work with IP, produce content, deliver that to consumers in a transactional model or via subscription, revenue share. And then the new thing here is sort of affiliate fees. If we're helping to channel purchases on items occasionally or very often, then we might be taking an affiliate fee. So this is just, these are some of the things that we're up to. I just want to give you guys a brief overview. But by and large, I think we're really excited about what's next on your phone. And in particular, we believe content will continue to be discovered on social media for the foreseeable future. We're very interested in the future of wearable glasses, augmented reality as part of the system. But we also felt that having been veterans of the VR space in its modern incarnation and the AR space, for us, our interest was meeting consumers where they still are today and delivering interactive content to them for the first time in these places. So that's Artie. Happy to take any questions you guys might have.